Okay, so does everyone remember back in the day when Lepic was our go-to for killing Frostwalker, either solo or in a group? And you had to build him to have maximized duration. You had to use a hand cannon and get as many shots as possible, get as much damage as possible to try and kill this thing within a reasonable amount of time. So you had to use a specific build with almost no health and no cooldown, nothing. You had to do that to kill this thing really quickly. Well, let me show you guys something. Now, the build you'll see later on in the video is a mobbing build. And it was not strictly built for collosi or any other specific thing. It's just a mobbing build. You can take it into whatever, whether it's an Axion planes or 400% or whatever. Not like I said, once again, not a bossing build. It is just flat out a mobbing build. So check this out. You guys can see something crazy. Okay, that was probably a 2-second kill. Let me check it real quick. 2 whole seconds on a mobbing build. That's how crazy strong Lepic is now. Now we're going to take him through a quick solo private run into Sigma sector so you guys can see how the build works, how it runs, the amount of damage he's outputting, and things like that. I get to notice that he's got decent cooldown on this build, but you do need it, but there are quicker ways to get your
specialized Vulcan aircraft has appeared
your grenades back. All you have to do is shoot. Once I've only got 2. If I shoot my gun, it gives me a third grenade. Nope, he knocked me over.
Descendant, we're detecting arcane life signs inside a Vulcan structure.
As you guys see, he's doing millions upon millions of damage with his grenades. bosses aren't going to stand a chance.
Captain Elias, deploying RK. I am the original.
Mission complete.
Now down to the build itself. We'll start off with the modules. All right, here we decided to use explosive stacks. That's the reason you get those 3 grenades. It says you can shoot your gun, and as you shoot, I think anywhere from like 5 to 9 bullets or 9 shots, you can another stack your explosive stacks. You get 3 to start off with, and every time you throw them, it throws 3 grenades out. And you guys saw on the former videos that they do stupid amounts of damage. Death by 1,000 cuts, simply because you get, basically it's just extra damage by doing a projectile attack, and you get that meteor that can fall down occasionally. This one here is of course the one your choice. You want your 4 crit mods because obviously he's doing crit damage, and you want to try and get that crit rate as high as possible. So all 4 your crit mods, your 2 cooldown, MP conversion, nimble fingers, and then focus on tech, focus on fire to get that cooldown and more damage out of your fire and tech. And then here, skill expansion for the range on that 3rd ability, that suction grenade that sucks them all in for you. The battle stamina gives you a little bit of health, because this is not a whole lot of health in this build, but you also get duration for your 4 and health. All right, now to the reactor. We're using a burning tech reactor. I've got fire and tech on it for as much damage as I can possibly get out of this build. Tactical rifle mounted for the Sacred Guard. We'll see in a second. We want the Slayer set with all your MP recovery, HP. We're trying to get as much health as possible. It's not a whole lot, but it's decent. All right, for the gun we're using is going to be Secret Garden, because all his damage abilities are tech abilities. So what you're wanting to do is get as much extra damage out of that as possible. The build I'm using is a pretty basic build. You're not really going for so much about damage for the guns. You're not ever really using the gun to shoot, other than to get your stacks of grenades back. So you can, use Brisk Walk, Veil Anonyzer, whatever you really want to do. It doesn't really matter. The mods don't matter that much. It's mostly for just a stat stick. Like this one has got 3 sprint speed cores on it and some of the basics. But like I said, it's just a stat stick. It gets him that tech boost, and it gets him running faster. For RK tuning, we're using a very, very the basic crit build for crit Descendants. You're going over here, you're getting your gold skill power, going up here and get your cooldown, going to the right, getting just more skill power, and I'm using fire cohesion because the more you throw out, the more you stack, you do more damage. Then getting a little more crit damage right here. Now, if you wanted to, unfortunately with this build, the crit rate is kind of low. It's only 46 to 50%, and it doesn't matter when you got a bunch of enemies grouped up with your 3, because you're hitting so many at once, you're going to get mostly crits. But if you wanted to on the RK tuning, you could lose a little bit of damage and get a little more crit rate just to help you out there. But that's entirely up to whoever's building. The inversion reinforcements, just a cooldown here because you're trying to get your 4 as much as possible, and your 1 and your 3. Right here to keep your MP up, and over here just for a little bit, just not taking a whole lot of damage because you've got your resistances up here. But that is the build. You definitely want to use the MP doggo, the one that gives you MP back, to help you out with that. And other than that, that's the build. So I hope you guys all have a good day.